People should be able to hear me. Can everyone hear Andrew? Andrew, say something.
Hello. Hi.
You
Can
should
you
be
hear
able to hear Andrew. If not,
me?
let us know. This is going to be a bit of a different indie dev chat than what I'm used to. I don't have to edit anything now.
Ooh, that's nice.
uh, his voice is low. Okay, I'll bump that up a bit. Give me a sec, guys.
I'll let you bump that up side. If you want me to, I can try as well.
No, it's okay. I'll
Or I
do it
can
on
just
my
get it-
side.
Speak louder.
No, because if I do it on that side, then it's gonna be really annoying for me. Because like it like comes out quite loud on my ears, but it comes out like quite quiet.
I see.
Filters. Oh, Danny's in the chat.
Nice.
Yo, Danny, how's it going?
Hello, sir.
Let's. Oh, 420. All right, is that good? Andrew, can you try to
Hello,
say something?
testing. 1, 2. Lasagna.
Lasagna.
420 is good. Okay, that's good.
It's good, yeah? Alright. Sweet. Okay. And is the music too loud or does it sound all good? This is going to be a bit of a balancing act at the start.
I'm just looking at the chat. It looks like I'm looking at you, Matt, but I'm looking at the chat.
Hello!
Hi.
Yeah, usually at the end of the indie dev chats, we usually like high five each other in the.
Oh, dude, we could totally do that. Hell yeah. Wait, let me see.
Yeah.
It's like there. Yeah. Quarantine friends, let's go.
Everything sounds alright. Fantastic. Okay, let me. You know, it might be worth getting the document ready. I kind of forgot about the most important part.
It's all good. I have it here if you want me to send it to you.
No, I got it, so don't worry. But yeah, at the end of the indie dev chat, you guys will be able to ask Andrew some questions yourself, in case you want to ask him anything. And yeah, it should be all fun. So, in case people didn't know, my name is Matt, or Metabulous. This is the Indie Dev Chat, and today I am here with Andrew. He is a fellow game dev YouTuber currently developing Tadpole Tales. So, quickly, just sort of tell us about what you do for those who aren't aware.
Okay. So I'm an indie developer, just like many of us here, I suppose. I'm currently creating this game, Tadpole Tales. It's a 2D top-down shooter that is using hand-drawn arts from my amazing friend Giacomo. And yeah, it's a game about fighting pollution and cleaning rivers. And yeah, it's a very small project because just like many of us, I've only just started out recently. So I'm trying my best to keep the project as small as possible. But yeah, learning from the best mistakes.
Yeah, it's a weird learning curve. It's not steep, but it's not like calm. It's sort of like, oh yeah, woo. It's like a roller coaster. Like you sort of think you have it, and then it goes down and then up. It's really interesting.
Very
So,
much
yeah.
like a roller coaster.
But
Yeah. And I do YouTube from time to time. I try to be as consistent as possible, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of taking a quick couple of weeks break from videos, just sort of calm myself down because, yeah, things start getting pretty insane after a while, and like it's very tough to sort of keep up with it. And now I'm not making devlogs, and well, not as much now. Sometimes I do, obviously. I'm gonna make a couple here and there, but my content's gonna be a lot more just. I don't know. It's a lot different than like a lot of other content that's been on my channel, so it takes a bit longer to sort of work on, I suppose. But yeah, yeah, YouTube is great. It's fantastic. I love it. So yeah, as with all these indie dev chats, I'm gonna ask you a few questions so people can truly understand you and your game development, and then we'll move on to three of the topics that we chose to discuss. That's yeah, okay. English was like just sort of went downhill for a sec there. Okay, we're all good.
Okay.
So
My
first
English
off,
isn't great.
what inspired you to create games?
Well, I love the idea of being able to create experiences for people, and just like many games did for me, they created amazing memories, and otherwise, I think it would have been impossible for me to experience certain experience that I would have wished I had, where games did that. There are some games that, for example, resonates with me and my values a lot, and they're actually, some of them are AAA games as well. So if you heard of Senua's Hellblade, for example.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it, yeah.
It's a game about synesthesia, psychosis, and Journey as well, the game, if you know, from that game company. And of course, everybody's favorite as well. Like, as much as it is becoming a meme, Undertale is also one of the games that really speaks of its kind, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically, I enjoy the idea of creating games for good, and if I'm able to create something meaningful and help people understand or experience something good, that's kind of the drive here for me.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I can see that. I mean, that's the sort of thing that I'm going for. Sort of, I suppose you're making more, I don't know what you want to call it, like
personal games. People.
Yeah, more personal. Yeah, that's the word.
That's what I wish I'd be able to do, but for example, at the moment I'm still learning, so I have to try my best to balance the two. And I really also enjoy the commercial games or any other games. So basically, at the end, because I plan and I aim on becoming the best game dev out there or game designer out there, I want to be able to create as many different games as possible. So
yeah, that's great. I mean, I think I'm up to 14 games in the past 3 years
14
now.
games.
Yeah, I mean,
I've reached my 5th game now.
that's great. I mean, I think last year, I think that was when I made 10 games last year.
I see. Wow.
Oh wait, actually, it's probably more than that now though. So I've probably made about 16, 17 up there. Which it's definitely weird.
You participate Jonas's channel and you made 50 games. That counts, right?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, all those 18 games. That's what I was counting. No, I got to, what did I get to? 19, 20, I don't know what I got to. That was a tough challenge. I couldn't even. I wasn't expecting it to be as tough as that. But yeah, like, I think I'm just about close to wanting to make my dream project. But like,
I see.
Honestly, like, if I want to make it, it's gonna probably be another year or two.
Well, I wish
mainly
you all the
because
best.
I want it to be perfect, because I know that if I put the effort into it and stuff, then it'll be good. I'm gonna work a bit more with 3D over the next couple of like years or so.
I really want to start on 3D as well, but I have no 3D modeling knowledge. But just like everything else, with game dev, for example, I'm self-taught in terms of everything that has to do with game dev or programming. So I'm sure that there's a lot of things out there to teach you about 3D modeling as well.
Yeah. Someone just asked, why wouldn't you make your dream project? Why would you schlub around and wait for the perfect time? The reason I'm waiting for the perfect time is because, like, I don't really have enough experience with 3D, and like, I don't want to remake the same game over and over again. Like, imagine you had zero experience in something. It's not going to be amazing, right? And you have to keep redoing it. And I'd rather have built up more of a portfolio as I keep going on, making small 3D games, getting the knowledge I need for those 3D games. Then when it comes to the actual game, then I can put all those skills properly in, and I wouldn't have to like keep like going back and forth over and over again and just recreating assets. Because yeah, I don't know. I guess also because I've got a lot of commitments, so you know, making a dream project is gonna be pretty tough.
I see. Well, I go with the idea of you need to make as many mistakes and as quick as possible so you can learn from them.
Yeah, that's fair.
afterwards.
I don't know. I'm quite. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's just. Yeah, I want more experience in that field before I get into it, because I don't want to just sort of jump right in, be like in an ocean and be like, this is scary. I mean, I guess that's like what it is like starting game dev again, but I got to keep the learning curve quite smooth, because obviously I've got YouTube as well, and that takes up a lot of time. So like I can't like have like a really steep learning curve for game dev whilst having some erratic YouTube algorithm working its way through. So yeah, because YouTube's been a lot, like it's got a lot bigger than I was even really like thinking. So and now that it's at this size, it's sort of like, you know, I don't really want to, I wouldn't just throw it away sort of thing. So I've got that commitment. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think you should totally. You shouldn't. You should totally not throw it away. I can't English either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think that for sure you need to be able to, you know, prepare yourself before getting yourself invested into a big project, especially if it's, you know, you think it's going to take quite a lot of your time.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's definitely good to do a lot of research and practice before doing something. It's just you just have to make sure you don't end up never doing it.
Yeah,
because you're too scared.
I've
It's a thin line between the two.
Yeah. Like I've told myself that in at least in 2 years I'll start developing the project. That is like I set that goal at the end of last year, because I've been planning this game for, it's not been too long, it's been like 6 months, but I've always had the idea in the back of my head and I've always sort of like kept playing it back.
Well, if it's going to hunt you, you should probably make it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't, yeah, I don't know, I just want to make sure it's perfect, but yeah.
I see.
It's quite a common phrase that when starting game dev, never start with your dream project. Yeah. But I also try to come at it from the perspective of not regretting past projects, and I can always make a sequel or better version. Yeah, I don't know.
Very true.
I mean, I feel like sequels are sometimes, like if you were to title something as a sequel, usually like the first game is usually the best. Like that's sort of like when you sort of think of like a sequel, you usually think, oh, you know, I'm trying to think of an example now, and actually I can't think of anything. But you know, a lot of the time the first game is the best one. Obviously that doesn't go for everything, but I don't know. Yeah.
I see.
So,
Next
that question's a bit
or-
silly. Yeah. What types of games do you like to make the most?
What type of games?
Yeah.
Well, just like coming back from what you said, I've made almost 5 games now, I think, and all of them are in 3D. So I think I'm mostly familiar with like top-down shooter games, but I would definitely love to make story-based games or like
Yeah.
just experiences. I enjoy seeing artistic indie games that are created that convey a specific emotion through the mechanics of the game. So yeah, definitely I want to be able to create mechanics that convey a certain emotion, because what I believe is that it's easy to make a game mechanic fun, but what is difficult is to make those mechanics speak to the environment of the game or convey a certain feeling. That's what I believe.
Someone is revving their engine up there. But yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so the types of game I want to make, and also replied to before, I want to make all types of games. So in a way, it's I probably have quite a neutral feeling towards that. I think that I'd want to make all types of games.
Yeah, someone just said indie game sequels from developers no one knows about doesn't even mean anything though. From big companies, it's harder to pull off. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I think it's also like I've got Millions of Minions that I'm working on as well, which is, that's my main project, and I can't like I've got all the team working with that, and that's for like financial reasons as well as I don't know what it. Yeah, like it is just. Not just, that would sound really bad, but a lot of it is for finance, because if like the team and I don't get this game a success this year, then we probably won't be able to make a game together again. So that's something that we've had to like face, like if this doesn't go well, we can't pay the fees, so yeah, it wouldn't be ideal.
It's like a survival game almost.
Yeah, game dev is a survival game. Yeah. A game that really shows emotion and has great mechanics is Detroit Become Human, in my opinion. Favorite game of all time. Yeah, I absolutely love Detroit Become Human.
It was a very good game.
I think that was very well written. Quantic Dream, their story-based games always inspire me. I've actually replayed a couple of those the past week. I've been like on a story game mode where I just play loads of story-based games. But yeah, like they're super amazing. So
I actually have a tradition with one of my really good friends. I think he's on the stream as well. And I remember when I still had school, every summer during the holidays, we would probably get one of the story-driven games.
Yeah.
We would binge play it until we finish it without sleep. It was a very horrible thing to do, but now it leaves that very nice nostalgic feeling to it, because just always playing those type of games and ordering fast food and pizzas and stuff. It was good.
Yeah, me and someone in this chat as well, the moderator Armin, we've been playing the story-based games together this past week. It's been really fun. I've already played them, well, not all of them, but there's a few of them that I've played. But like it was so long ago now that I don't even remember. Well, I remember parts of it, like when it gets like the emotional parts. I'm like, oh god, not this again. I went through this already. Yeah, someone just asked, how long have you been making games?
For me, I started, I think, well, before this, so I think last summer, I started doing game dev last summer. So it's
that makes me feel really old. It's kind of weird.
It is kind of weird, because I just finished university. Are you still in school? I think you are, right?
Yeah, I'm in I guess you could call it high school. I go to college. So
college, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a terrible course. Don't take a game design course at this age. They don't know what they're doing. Let's just say that. But yeah, like it's really weird because I started it in my previous school. I started doing game dev, and then it's kind of weird to look back because now that school feels so long ago. So it's just like, damn, I did that like ages ago now, and in reality, it was 3 years ago that I started, and then it was 7 years ago that I did programming. So I feel even like when I look back at my programming history, like I first started programming when I was 10, which it's so weird. It's very, very good though. Matt and Andrew, do you guys like RPGs?
I do, yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
I, really like
I mean,
RPGs.
Personally, I don't find them too enjoyable. I don't know. I think I see why people like them though, but it's really weird because I like D&D and stuff, but I don't like RPGs. It's funny.
Oh, come on. D&D is RPG. It's fine. You like RPGs.
Okay, yeah, there you go. It's a tabletop RPG, so I get away with it. Either of you play...
RPGs are great.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can't remember which one it was now.
Darkest
I re-
Dungeon is a very good game. Has a very good game mechanic, and it conveys, for example, the emotions with the story very well.
Yeah, I don't play
If you haven't
Darkest
tried
Dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon, you should try it.
Oh no, don't tell me I have to binge a game again. Oh no. Have you guys played Dota 2 at all? I have like 6,000 hours on that game.
Yeah.
No, I've never
MOBA
even...
games are a thing, but I'm not really good at MOBAs.
I
My
don't
girlfriend
really-
is amazing at MOBAs, but I'm horrible.
What do you guys find the hardest thing about game dev?
Oh, shouldn't we keep those questions after we finish?
Yeah, I'll try and... Right, just save all those questions till the end of the interview. Let's get through your questions and the topics, and then we can do it.
Yeah.
Alright. Where were we? Yeah, so what has been the best source of help for your game development?
Okay. Well, I guess I should probably say how I started and all that stuff, so that way people can understand like the source that I've used that may help you guys as well. First of all, Google is the best place.
Yeah, that search box is
Anything that you
amazing.
don't know, just Google it. You're not the first person that stumbled upon that problem, so you're most likely going to find your answers within a few minutes. That's the number one thing. When I started out, I didn't know programming for games at all. I knew programming because I did a bit of Python before, but like I studied business and computer science for my undergrad degree, and we had a bit of programming there, but it's nothing like game programming, game development programming, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, game programming is a completely different
it feels very
avenue.
different.
It's really weird. Yeah, I remember switching from normal programming, and yeah, it's definitely strange.
So when I started it, I used a Udemy course. Oh, I forgot their name. I should probably wrote that somewhere. And yeah, I'm sorry. It's the most famous one. It's number
Is it
one
by
course.
Ben Tristan?
Yes,
Maybe.
yes.
Yeah. I think
that
everyone
video.
did
Thank
that.
you very much.
I
Yeah,
think
it was
everyone
great.
did that one. I mean, me personally, I actually did the C++ one back in the day.
Yeah.
Because originally I was going to do Unreal Engine, but I didn't. Personally, I was like, that interface is scary and ugly, and I remember just sort of going, you know what, now. And I went over to Unity, and I love Unity. The interface is so nice. There's so much like support online for it in comparison to a lot of like the other engines. Like I'd say it's probably got one of the most amounts. Although I couldn't really tell because I've never seen others. But you know, like yeah, the amount of support that you can get with Unity is like astonishing to me.
Yeah. So after doing that, I learned a bit more. I think the first game that I properly made was through the help from Blackthorn Prod. You know, I think you've interviewed him as well.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, he seems like a very nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
So I took that course, the very easy course where you have to dodge the bullets, and I tried to add a spin to that. So I learned how to make that game, and my friend and I, so Giacomo and I, we turned it into this game called Maddie, and it's you basically have to dodge the rain and you're a candle. So saying that it's a candle gives a sense to the game mechanics. And we also made the health to diminish in time, like based on time, because candles run out. Therefore, you have to pick up things that comes from the top. So it's like a constant loop. Yeah, and I think that was the first games that I made. But yeah, back to your question to the best source to help your game development. Definitely Google. If you're going for Unity, I would say the Unity documentation is the best place to find stuff.
And the forums.
And the forums, yes. To be honest, like the way I can tell whether I have reached from one milestone to another in terms of my game dev journey is when I stopped looking at tutorials and I started reading.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of realized I was like, okay, I'm at the point where I can start my own project now. and I don't have to keep on making clones of the games. But you gotta start somewhere, so definitely make a lot of clones until you get pretty familiar with programming, game dev, and just game design theories. After that, you reach to a point where you'll feel very comfortable with yourself, where you can start experimenting. So, that's the thing. Because for me, for example, Tadpole Tales is the first game that I've kind of let myself experiment, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think my first... Yeah, I didn't release any of the the clone games. I only released my, personal ones. But yeah, making clone games definitely makes you learn a lot. Even something as simple as Pong,
Yeah.
as simple as it looks, is actually stuff you gotta do in the background and stuff. And yeah, I learned a lot from that.
I think Pong is the first game I've made.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first for me. I remember way back when I sat on my dad's laptop. I think it was, I set myself the challenge from, I think it was 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day. I would make some small little game, and yeah,
Damn, that's dedication.
I made Pong, Snake,
Space Invaders.
yeah, Space Invaders, and some dodging the car game. But yeah, that was pretty cool because it was challenging, but yeah, it was an interesting experience. And I didn't even realize that was known as a game jam back then. I was literally doing a game jam every night.
You were doing game jams before you knew it was a game jam.
I think
you were the
I did
cool
it
before the uncool became the thing.
Yeah, I think I did it for about a month, and then I moved on. But yeah, there's a folder somewhere on my dad's computer where it's just got about 30 games on there. But yeah, that was the pinnacle of my game dev. Back then, when you're starting to learn everything and you can see yourself advancing, that was the coolest part, I'd say. So yeah, and I think the things that helped me the most was, yeah, definitely documentation. I started reading a lot of documentation, and man, you really know you've gone far when you don't have to watch some YouTube tutorial on how to add a box collider to an object or something, not as small as that.
I sometimes go back and check, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are
forget.
times obviously, but
You can't remember everything.
I remember right at the start, I had no idea how you made a collision work, and I just looked at it, I stared at it, and I was like, and then I realized, I think I was doing on collision enter with no 2D in a 2D game, and I was like, why is it not working? And then yeah, I read up on it a lot, and then I realized. But that is one of the coolest things when you can see, looking back at that, right now I'm like, wow, I've come a lot further than I even thought I did, to be honest. So
yeah, it's good to keep track of your work as well, so you can look back to it.
Yeah.
And see how far you got.
yeah, I wish
Games, no matter how crappy they are, you just gotta keep them so you can look back to it.
yeah,
It's like
exactly.
a
Yeah,
nice
it's,
story, I
it's
would say.
definitely important. And
I'm
I
sorry,
wish.
by the way, can you hear the birds?
No, I can't hear the birds. You're all good. You just look like a bit of a madman. You're just looking at your curtains. Can you hear those birds? No, I can't hear the birds, Andrew. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
This is my house.
But yeah, I lost it. It must have been anything important. Oh well. So, do you have any tips for people that?
Yeah.
Someone's revving
just to-
again.
Wow. We probably need to start living in a basement so there are no more birds, no more cars,
Yeah,
That
yeah.
way, perfect silence.
Yeah, exactly.
Any tips for the people who are just starting out? Well, it's probably just what you just said right now as well. I totally support the idea of making small projects and start. If you're just starting out, you should definitely work on small clones, basically. That way you'll get a certain understanding of how the game engine it works, and how the type of games you want to make works, certain code logics. Like, for example, right now I'm not a great programmer at all. I'm pretty horrible, actually, I would say, looking at my own code. And even I think some people who watch me stream, when most of the time I'm just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing either. I'm just Googling, well, I'm just searching what I can do. But you know, like, it's important to always push yourself and to learn. I think that's the main insights. And it's okay to make mistakes. Make as much and as many of them, as long as you learn from them, and as long as you try your best to not repeat the same afterwards. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah. I think we have we have a really great community of game. I think game development communities is one of the kindest communities that are out there, because we all work in a cooperative environment. We're not like competitive, we're cooperative, because all of us were so different that the types of games we make are all so different. So I think it's just, if you're just starting out, understand that you need to be kind and you need to help out as well. And that, you know, you need to be genuinely interested in someone else's work. That way people will have a look at your stuff as well. And if your stuff is truly good as well, they will stay. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, sure. No, that is definitely right. And I remember, it's quite funny because at the start of my YouTube channel, I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna make a bunch of tutorials, I'll help out loads of people, and I've made one tutorial. And it's so
tutorials
funny.
Are hard to make, man.
Yeah, they are. I don't really know like how to figure out what to make, you know, like I
don't know how to explain things.
Yeah,
which shows another reason why I probably don't understand 100% of what I'm doing. And
yeah,
that's why I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to explain how my code works or how a certain things is done.
Yeah, like yeah, but I've got a video coming out in a bit about it. It's a game. It's another video essay. Well, not really a video essay. No, it's not a video essay. It's more like I don't know what you'd call it, but it's basically a starting out guide for people. Like not like based on Unity or anything, but like actually starting game development. And I'm referencing a lot of YouTubers and stuff, and I'll probably use clips from this to like show people, you know, make clones and stuff. I just want because I know there's a lot of videos like that, but I think you can always give your fresh pair of eyes, because everyone's still like, I remember when I was starting out, I would type, how do you start game development, and you know, like I'd probably watch
That's the first thing I did.
I don't know, I must have watched about 5 or 6 like videos before I like came to the conclusion of how to start. So I think hopefully if like people can watch my content and draw something away from it, then you know that's all that I really want to do.
The reason why I would watch those videos, because I wanted to see what I would get myself into if I'm truly committed into making games, for example.
Yeah.
And that's why those videos were out there. So either people talking about their experience so far, or what they believe game development is, or how it should be done.
Yeah.
So definitely don't just look at. So another tip out there is, don't look and trust only one source. Anything, tutorials, coding, game design, anything, you need to have a look at multiple sources, YouTube or anything. You have to check out more and then build your own opinion on this subject, and then make a decision on whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing to starting out. Like you kind of, I know a lot of the time people feel guilty searching a lot of stuff up. I know that like at least at the very beginning, I think I was sort of like, oh, I want to challenge myself and not search it up. But actually, you know what? Like, it's okay to challenge yourself, but if you're stuck on something for more than 10 minutes, then, and you're trying to challenge yourself, then just search it up. I think at that point, it's pretty fair to search it up. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing, but like, if let's say you're trying to implement some collision system and you've been there for 10 minutes, then, you know, just search it up, because obviously it's okay if you want to challenge yourself, and like I get that, but there is like a level of, you know, hey, you know, you're making a game. It's not an easy thing. Like, you're literally making a game, so it's not going to be an easy journey. So
No.
yeah, searching things up is, yeah, it's definitely the most important. So those are all the questions for the interview type thing. So now I guess we'll get on to discussing a couple of the topics. So let's start off with Tadpole Tales. So is there anything... Yes, is there anything you want to talk about in particular?
I guess I could say something that I consider very special about this game that we are currently making is that, first of all, this game, we want to create a nostalgic feeling to the GBA games. So it's kind of like love letter to that generation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We want to create something new, but in the same time revolve into those old school feelings when you play on your Game Boy Advance. Number two, the game also, like, that's not the main message from the game, but it's slightly hinting towards it, that the game is about this tadpole, right, fighting pollution and cleaning rivers. So in the game, nobody really dies, and when you're killing them, you're more or less washing the poison off the enemies because they've been corrupted by the toxic waters.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And yeah, it's basically something very simple. And we wanted to add, the game also has, because you're a tadpole, right? And there's an evolve, devolve mechanic where you can change your form into something else. And then when you're something else, your stats changes. So like your bullets will behave differently, your movement speed are different, and your size as well, of course, and all those stuff. I wanted to make, I'm not sure, I haven't gone that far yet in terms of development, but I want to implement a high score system that is, oh god, I don't even know how to explain it. That's how vague it is. Because usually I would have a description already in my head. So, you know how in high scores you can, like, if you're playing alone and you have these type of achievements, like, oh, do this many times and you'll get this, right?
Yeah.
Because pollution is not something an individual would do and they would solve it. It's something that everybody has to do in order to stop the pollution or to improve to save our environment. I want to create a high score system where when you play and you finish a run, that score points gets put into a pool of lakes. If everybody plays and reach like the total amount of numbers of points accumulated will reach a certain point, then the game would reward all the players, let's say, a new character to play.
That is really cool. Yeah, I like that.
So it matches the idea of how when you're cleaning, you can't do it alone. You should do it with many people. To the idea of you should just play several times, kind of clean. But it's just a very silly idea. But you can see how I'm trying my best to convey the emotions with the mechanics of the game into the same place. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess if like a lot of people played it, then you'd have all the characters unlocked. So yeah,
basically,
that'd be quite cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've seen one other game do that, and that was just like a special event sort of thing. Like, you know, people. I think. Have you heard of Human Fall Flat?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so there was there was a Christmas update that they released. I don't know when it was now, but within that, basically you had to like deliver presents and put them in like in this like hole, I think it was. I can't really remember too much. It's quite vague now, but basically when you put that in, like the points would go up for everyone, like in the whole like world, like globally, and like when it got to the end of it, they'd unlock a new costume. It's really cool, yeah.
That's cool.
But I remember like that was a really neat feature because I was like, oh, that's so cool. You know, everyone's committing into this.
Cool feature.
And like they, I think it was like, what skins were it? Like a reindeer skin, for example. And like there was some limited edition ones. But like literally once those were unlocked, like you can't, I don't think you could unlock them if you missed the event. So like, you know, if you were there for that
it's an
event
thing, you have to be for that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
And
which
you
I
create
thought,
that skin, which is really cool. Yeah, I like.
yeah, I
that.
think it's very interesting. And it's Christmas time, so a lot of, you know, there's like sales on and all that, so people are more likely to buy the game, I suppose. So it's actually a very clever marketing idea.
It is. Speaking of marketing, I actually have some questions for you as well, Matt.
Uh-oh. Marketing, alright, go on.
Oh, it's not really about marketing, it's more like community management. You currently have quite a pool of people who are who are interested in your game and your development.
Right.
And I was wondering how is your experience so far managing a community that's slowly growing bigger and bigger?
Yeah, so it's actually quite weird because for me it hasn't been, well I think it's for a lot of people like this, my like YouTube growth hasn't like, you know, been like just normal, like that sort of thing, like straight up. It's been quite like, you know, go up every now and then, and there were literally before I was at 500, I think it was 500, it would basically just be 0 for a few weeks. I'd upload a video, it would spike to about 18 more, and then it would go back down like almost straight, well not almost straight away, it would sort of like tether off and then do the same thing. But then, yeah, like those bursts
Nobody
were quite,
understands the algorithm.
yeah, it's really weird. But those bursts were really different because it was sort of like, sometimes you'd get like, let's say 2 subscribers from a video, or sometimes you'd get like 13. So I just want to like sort of reiterate the fact that it's hard to prepare for it, because I had a moment at the start of this year, I was at 400 subscribers. By the end of January, I was at 700. Like, I gained 300 in a month, and that was my like one of the best growths at that time. And it literally it was so hard to prepare for it, and honestly I had no idea what I was doing. And then yeah, like it's only recently when I was at like I hit 800 a few, like it must be a month ago. No, I don't know when it was now. But like then it's just sort of like a natural sort of growth now. Like I get about, I don't know, like 10 a day now, which is really weird. It's like, what? And the way I've managed it is a lot different to a lot of other YouTubers, because I know a lot of them, like, they just sort of, they don't reply to their comments and stuff, which I get, because, you know, it does get out of hand sometimes. But what I've done is I've made sure that right at the start I was in the habit of hearting the comments, replying to the comments, no matter what it was. And that's like been a really good sort of way of staying connected to community. A Discord server is super important. I think, you know, it's just a way for everyone to sort of talk to you a little bit more and get to know you as a person. And yeah, make that as soon as you can. I'd say like basically ASAP. And once you've got that, and you've got, you know, you probably won't get many members to begin with, but
you need to provide first content. You need to pump out as much content as you can at the beginning, I would say.
I don't know, I mean,
correlating with the Discord channel, kind of.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure with your Discord, it's a really good idea to talk to your fans personally, or not personally, but, you know, like more on a personal level, so they feel connected to your content. Asking them what content they want to see is very important. Doing like polls and stuff, asking them, you know, do you want a tutorial? Do you want a video essay or whatever, and then let's say someone said they wanted a video essay, I gave them 3 choices for the whole server, and then, you know, whatever like got the highest, I would do it on that one. And that's, I think it's very important that you stay connected with your community and you're not like unhinged from it. And also, like, don't get engrossed in the numbers. Obviously, everyone says that. It's a stupid thing to say, but like everyone does say it. But yeah, like, try not to overindulge in it. Like, sure, yeah. I mean, I celebrate when I hit a good milestone, obviously, because that's
You should
that's
celebrate.
awesome. But don't, like, if you see a time where subscriber count is like not growing that much, just who cares? You know, in a few, like, your next video, you might get a spike of it again, and
It's kind of
yeah.
like fishing almost.
yeah, I suppose so. And consistency is obviously one of the most important things, but at the same time, don't. This is gonna go against what I literally just said in those words, but if you need to take breaks, take those breaks and push out good content rather than rushed, boring, dull content, and make the videos unique. You got to also make sure that people gain something from your videos, even if that's like entertainment or learning something new, literally anything, but they've got to take something from it, because otherwise
Your video needs to have values. That's for sure.
otherwise it's gonna be just dull for everyone. So what I like, for me, I've tried to make my videos really stupid. That seems to work well for me. I try and be an idiot, and luckily I'm good at that one. So yeah.
Bro, don't worry. I don't know if you watched some of my devlogs. There was
Yeah, I
one
have.
where I straightened my hair. You haven't.
I
Good.
haven't
You
watched
shouldn't
that one.
watch it. I've actually, because this is my natural hair. I have curly hair, and I straightened my entire hair, and I dressed up in a very weird Asian costume.
Oh wait, no, I did see that one. I think I saw it.
Yeah, and I basically just made a fool of myself whilst trying to deliver a content. But that was really fun. It was really
It is super fun. It also gives you a lot of motivation. And like, there was a game I made called Mr. Tubby, and for that one, I actually started a video, I think, where I jumped into the bathtub. It was,
really.
well, I didn't jump into it, you know, like yeet into it. I sort of like got into it, but honestly, yeah, make those weird sacrifices if you're going for entertainment, because people like weird.
People like weird.
It's
Like
so
diversity.
yeah, it's so funny. Like, in some of my videos, I do like a cringy dance because, you know, people
Oh, you
find it
have
funny.
No idea how many cringy dances I have.
Well, no, it's a good thing to have them. You know, the more you have, like the bigger inventory that you have, the better.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I'll look at something when I'm trying to do a video. Like, I'll look at something. Let's say like a PS4 controller or something, and I'll just go. You know, I'll be gaming or whatever, and then, like, I don't know, there'll be like a yell out the door, and I'll be like, "What is that?" You know, I'm like really, really dumb about it. But you see, like, just that, like, I looked at a PS4 controller and just thought of the weirdest thing that I could think of, and like, I mean, this is just for me personally, because I like putting on a stupid voice. Like the voice I just did, for example, like a lot of people find that quite entertaining, I know, because there's been a lot of people that have said, "Yo, that voice gets me," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll keep it up."
I'll try my best.
Yeah, I'll
Get
try
your
not to like lose my
funny
voice.
persona out.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, when you do YouTube and when you're recording videos like this and stuff, like, your personality completely changes. It's, well, not completely, obviously you're still you. That'd be a bit stupid if it wasn't you. But like, you still you change a lot, at least in the introduction. And that's another thing. Make sure your introductions aren't like a year long. I usually would,
Needs to be a hook for sure.
yeah,
Need to hook the player.
I stick to a 20-second weirdness patch where I'm just absolutely weird, and then I have a 20-second introduction to what I'm going to do for the video. And then if you want to add anything on, add it to the end of the video, so the people that are interested, they can check it out then.
Usually the watch count as well drops, so usually the people who watch till the end are those people who are truly interested in what you do.
Yeah, like don't like start off the videos saying, oh, you know, wishlist my game on Steam, because nobody's gonna do that. Like if
someone who's watching who never heard of you, you'll be like, okay, what's going on? I have no idea what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, and I guess,
for example, sorry, you were saying?
I was saying that it's like there are some content creators. I'm thinking like Thomas Brush. Have you heard of him?
Thomas Brush, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
And in his videos, he doesn't actually like say anything like to do with like wishlisting the game until the end of the video, but like in place of that, he puts like pop-ups of like wishlist my game on Steam, you know, or
That's great.
follow me on Patreon or whatever, and that seems to like get people a lot more interested in it, because then it's not as in your face like wishlist my game now, you know. It's more like, oh yeah, pop, and then it says wishlist my game, because I think it's a lot more,
It's more casual. As
Yeah.
a viewer, you can keep on talking about what you're saying at the same time.
yeah, you know, it's definitely an interesting one for certain. It's just, I don't know, it's gonna take time to get used to it as well. It's not something
Video
you pick up.
production is very. It's a whole, like, I think also for those indies who are starting out there, I'm sorry to say this, but you're not going to be only making games. You're going to have to learn a lot more than that. For example,
Yeah.
video production is something you have to learn if you want to promote yourself on YouTube. I also know that YouTube is not a stable place to promote yourself or to market your game, but it is free, and you can use it at your best advantage, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
just
the thing. Like,
I guess just be careful with that. Like don't get to the point where you rely on it so heavily that it's your only source of marketing.
yeah.
I would suggest places like Reddit and Twitter. Whenever you post a video, put it on Reddit and Twitter. And I also do on my Twitter. I actually have a larger following on my Twitter than my YouTube. I've always had that. And I showcase like my content. Well, not showcase my content. I showcase the work that I'm doing in the background, because people, you know, if they're interested in the work that I do, then they can see that. Because a lot of my videos now, like, I don't exactly start. I don't really show off my big project. It's weird because I don't really know how to showcase my game, because
Maybe Google that.
yeah, I mean, I probably could Google it, but it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just I don't really know what I'd show. Like, oh yeah, this is my game. Like, I might do a gameplay video when the game releases, and I'm planning on doing like a history of Millions of Minions when the game's out, so people can, like, you know, look at that and go, wow, you know, this is how he's done it, and then, you know, people would, yeah, it's definitely, it's weird because you can't rely on one thing, but you can't rely too heavily on just thinking people are going to pick up your game, because, you know, they're not going to pick up your game. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, you know, probably I'll consider it, and then they probably won't get round to it.
There's quite some videos that I've seen on how to promote your game when you're launching, but it's a whole process on launching your game. It's a whole process for sure.
Yeah, like Millions of Minions
is the pinnacle point of your game where you have to show the best part of your game, make sure that you're gonna get those people interested in your game, either through visual, story, or anything, but mainly, you know, any form of entertainment. If you can provide that to the people, and if they see and they are interested, you know, totally do that. I think, for example, in terms of promoting your game, you definitely have to look for people who are interested in the same genre types of your game.
Yeah.
So
I'd say look for Let's Players and stuff that are interested.
Yeah.
I'd say look for small ones, especially because whilst you may not get a huge amount of following from them, you'll have that sort of backlog of loads of them, and then if that gets into someone's recommended, you know, suddenly it boosts up and stuff. And like we've got for Millions of Minions, we've got 4 content creators, or no, 5 now, that will regularly post the content if we ask for it. Like we literally just have to ask now, and then they'll do it for us. So having that sort of thing is super ideal. And in a couple of weeks' time, we're ironing out we're basically polishing this build of the game to like the perfect standard if we can get it to that point. And we're gonna start contacting loads of journalists and stuff. That's another thing about marketing. Make sure you have a press list. I wish that I had made one a bit sooner, because
I haven't done that yet. I should probably start making.
Yeah, you need about 100. It's quite mad. I've got 35 or 54. I don't know. It's around that sort of number. But yeah, make sure you have a press list so you can send it out to people. Have a press kit as well, so people can, like, if they make content for your game, it's easy for them to like put the logo on it. Because honestly, like when I used to do gameplay videos way back when, and I remember it's the most annoying thing when you can't find a logo for a game. Like, you know, you just want it to be easy to grab. Like you don't want to have to go into it, edit the image so you just get the text or something. You literally just want like the logo on its own, but it has like a background. Like that's so annoying for people. So give them the option of using a logo with or without a background. Make some like cover up for the game. Make some like sprites for the players and stuff. Like for example, like on my phone case, you've got the Millions of Minions thing on there. And like that's part of the press kit because, you know, it's quite easy for people to use, and just having the resources available to the content creators and stuff is super important. Because remember, we're creating these games for a consumer, and the consumer is, you know, the people that are in like marketing really. So yeah, make sure you really get into the marketing side of things because it's undervalued, I think. I don't think you really realize it until it's like the last minute, and then you're like, oh, I've only got 1 download. You know?
I don't even think many YouTubers like game dev YouTubers talk that much about this. Apart from Game Dev Underground, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, his videos are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not sure if you.
So personal stuff as well.
Did you see his video yesterday? It was the 17 second. You have 17 seconds to wishlist my game or something like that.
I haven't watched it yet.
But that was it was literally 17 seconds long, and basically it was all he said in that was that, you know, the 17 seconds is how much time you have to grab someone's attention when they get on that store page. 17 seconds and then they leave. Like, that's nothing. Like, that's like an average of his content. So, you know, bear in mind, like, his game's pretty like advanced. Well, not advanced, it's not the right word, but you know, he's got an established following already. So if they can stay on there for 17 seconds, the average person I think is like, I think they stay there for like 3 seconds. So it's really, it's dangerous because you've got to make sure that people always, I can't remember what it was. There was this really good checklist I saw, and it's basically saying focus on your screenshots over your trailer. And it sounds very weird when you think about it. It's like, surely it would be the other way around. But actually, people look at the screenshots to determine the genre of the game. So like, because sometimes people don't look at the tags at the start. Like, you look at visual stuff. Then they read a little bit about, like, you know, what it is. Like, the first sentence of the store page.
First headline, maybe.
Yeah, make sure that, you know, that first sentence is eye-catching and it drags people in. It draws people in and everything, and then people look at the tags afterwards to see if it's like what they want. So I mean, I can't remember the exact order, but I think that's roughly how it went actually. But yeah, people focus on visuals before they focus on anything else. So you've got to make sure that you've got that like in place, because otherwise, you know, people just click off of it. Like Millions of Minions is at 150 wish lists, which shows that we probably haven't done enough marketing than we should have. And that's from I mean, that sounds really shameless, but like, you know, this is from like, I've got 1,000 subscribers, right? So you'd think I'd have a lot more wish lists than that, but actually most of my most of the wish lists aren't from YouTube. Not all of them are from YouTube. Some of them from just people from playing the game on Steam and Game Jolt and stuff. So yeah, again, don't rely on YouTube solely, because people take YouTube with a grain of salt. Yeah, it's just.
I think game devs in general, you have to take it with a bit of grain of salt, and you need to also just have a thick skin as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. Make sure you're not, like at the start, I mean, at least for me, it's kind of like, oh, I joined this Discord for support, and then like, you know, like that they like, it feels like they're yelling at you when you ask for like help, but actually they're not yelling, they're telling you in game dev form. That's what it is, right? And like sometimes you can misinterpret it. And
also there's so many different, because game development is about working with multidisciplinary teams.
Yeah.
Many people from different backgrounds also have a certain like way of, like, I don't want to say that, but for example, I would say most of the time programmers and so someone who's very much into programming compared to someone who's very much into the artistic part, they have a barrier of communication.
Yeah.
Because their workflow is certainly different. Therefore,
yeah,
it's important to, when you discuss with someone who's into a certain background, to be able to understand their language. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, especially if you're gonna work in a team, which is another topic for this.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a really good segue.
Yeah, is working in the team, you need to be as understanding as possible. I am, for example, I feel very fortunate that I'm in a team with very understanding people. Mm-hmm. Even though at the moment, I wouldn't say that my team has the most amazing synergy, because it's like I'm the hub and everybody talks to me and then I talk back to them. But
yeah.
They don't talk between each other very much, if anything at all. So usually if there's a problem or there's something, they usually come to me and I would discuss with it what's good. And if they for example, if the musician comes to me, I would usually get this problem and I would immediately pass on to also the artist, because I believe because our team is so small, I think everybody should get an opinion on anything that there is here.
So how many are in your team?
We are currently, well, I would say officially we are 5. So there's me who develops and does the whole thing, marketing, the game development, programming, and game design. My friend Giacomo is the animator and artist. He also helps me and works with me in terms of game mechanics, so consults with me ideas and stuff like that, and see whether we can implement or not. Then we have a sound designer person, Sebastian. He is not actually a sound designer by nature. He plays in a band and he's in Leicester. He's in England as well. And he's a DJ he's also a DJ from time to time. So, and he's just my really close high school friend. So I knew him from a while ago. It's like, hey, I kind of need this. And you seem like a person who know a bit about sound design, because he does. So he was very happy to hop on board because he really liked the idea as well.
Yeah.
Then we found this person, Esper, online. And he made SNES like music, so like chip tunes.
Oh my god! All right, yeah.
And that was a perfect thing for us because we needed that nostalgia feeling, and we thought that we would be able to create the nostalgic feeling from the music as well.
Mm-hmm. That's
Therefore,
cool.
the music carries the GBA vibes to it. Because I was like, could you make GBA themed like music? Yeah, so if anything related to music, usually I would consult with the sound designer guy as well, Sebastian, when Esper has a problem. When Sebastian has a problem, I would consult with, well, Seb, because Seb is sound design, so it's about sound effects. Sound effects needs to match the animation and the gameplay. So usually, as sound effects, Seb and Giacomo would have to communicate between each other. But they always come through me first and then go to the
Oh
other
man,
side.
that's tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're lucky enough. Our team's lucky enough that we all talk to each other.
That's really good.
Well, there's one of them that doesn't really talk to the others as much,
It's not
but
very vocal. It's okay.
but they talk to me and then I pass it back to the others. That's usually how it goes. But yeah, we're a team of 5 as well. Yeah, 5. Yeah, I had to make sure. I mean, it's a team of 4, but we have a musician, but we don't really know if we can count him as part of the team as such. He's sort of there, you know. Like he does the work, but he doesn't put a huge amount of work in comparison to us. So
I think that's similar to mine as well, but I think I'm kind of a douche because I always try my best to get him involved. I'm like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I would try to get as personal as possible with him. Like I'll start asking him personal questions, like not personal, but what's your favorite games? And like we would talk about the music in that game. I'll try to understand his point of view. And if he sees that, he usually would feel much more inclined into investing into this game,
yeah,
if that makes sense. Like obviously, as if you're the lead in your project, you need to fully genuinely be interested in everybody and invest in people best, with the best intentions possible, right?
yeah. Someone just said, I feel like WoW members should be considered part of the team, no matter what their roles are. Just my opinion.
I agree with that, but
Yeah.
that's the ideal situation. However, in real life, when you work with all different kinds of people, some people might not want to be,
Yeah.
in
And
that
sometimes
position.
it's more of a thing of like there's people that are more committed than others, and
Yeah.
you usually want to keep the people that are more committed closer because they're more likely to do the stuff that you need. And like let's say they only had one role. Like this is from going to the musician. Like he is only the musician. He doesn't do anything else. Whereas all the others take part in games design and like programming, art. All of us do that. I don't do the artwork though. I can't do art. But
Same.
there's a fair amount of us that are all close to it. But it's just I don't know. It's a weird sort of scenario because I would put him in the team properly, but I don't know. It's tough. It's weird working in a team.
Do you guys have a democratic environment, or do you guys have someone who has a final say in something?
Kind of. Well, usually we all just sort of, yeah, it's quite democratic with how we do it. It's usually if we get a unanimous vote on something, we'll do it. Like we have a meeting once a week, every Sunday.
That's pretty good.
And during that time, we discuss what we're going to do the next week, discuss how this week's gone, discuss the future and other projects as well. Because there's a side project that we're planning now. Well, not side project, another main project that we're planning now. And then in 2 months, when Millions and Minions is done, we'll get into like production phase of that other project, just so we have something always flowing. And
That's
these
very
meetings,
smart. I like
yeah, these meetings are really good. They last up to sometimes they last like 3 hours. It sort of depends. We all
You gotta make sure it's
we all
you say it, I guess.
yeah we all really like we're friends now. Like previously we were just sort of colleagues. It was quite a colleague environment. It was a bit weird. It wasn't as well, not weird. That's not the right word, but I guess when you work with
It's different.
like as a friend, it's sort of a bit more personal. Like you feel like you can
Casual.
talk to people a bit more, yeah, and it's less like, hey, do this work now. It's more like, hey, do you think you can do this work now? And like recently, we've actually made the a change in our how we work. So previously, we'd all work like alone, you know, like in our own little sections, our own little bubble doing something. Whereas now, what we've changed up is when we're talking to, and when one of us is working on the game, we'll join the voice chat, and then if anyone wants to join, they can join it. Like the voice chat of the team, obviously not. Like we wouldn't really want community to like hearing our conversations about secret things we're planning. So, but yeah, it's really good having that because it's actually a motivation boost in itself. Because if I saw, let's say Ghost, for example, he's our lead programmer. If I saw him like in the corner, like, you know, working, I'd be like, oh
Very
look,
cool name.
yeah, like, you know, I'd be like, oh, that guy, he's working all alone. So, you know, I'd join it, and then I'd sort of feel more obliged to work. It's actually really, it feels like an office space now more than it did. Previously, it just sort of felt like we were a group of indies working on the same project, I guess, if that makes sense. I guess we're still indies,
totally.
but yeah. It is really fun though. I like working
I
in a
will
team.
definitely steal that idea of putting the thing, you know, on Discord, a private channel where everybody can just hop on if they feel like it.
Yeah, because it also makes it feel a lot more friendly and stuff, which is really it's so fun working with someone else. Like every time,
Also makes it work much faster and quality
Yeah.
better.
yeah, the quality is much better than it would be with just you on your own. It's quite funny, and I think also like working in a team, you don't really feel as though you're all alone, like doing the same thing. Like as a proper indie, you do everything, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas with a team, when someone has a dedicated role to something, if it feels so relieving knowing that you don't have to work on that stuff. Like we're currently redesigning the main menu for the 5th time, I think it is now, and a title screen.
You had a lot of rework, plenty of iterations until you find
Yeah.
the perfect.
But
Until you find one
genuinely,
that
like this iteration, oh man,
Clash of
it's
games. I need game dev friends to work with. I'm Prennator. I need friends.
well, I mean,
Friends are interesting.
I actually, yeah, I
Well,
don't,
make friends here. Like,
Yeah.
You're always welcome in my Discord channel to chat about
Yeah.
your game dev stuff, for example.
yeah, join either of our Discords or both. That works
You're
too.
more, yeah, exactly, and chat with us. You're more than welcome to
Yeah,
share
in
your ideas and stuff.
in the Metabulous server, I'm trying a little bit harder now to, I guess it's better community management, trying to make friends with my community a bit more as well, because that's quite good, like having the friends there.
I try my best to reply to every message that there is, but sometimes it gets so overwhelming that
Oh man, yeah,
I'll miss a lot.
yeah, I think I'm getting about 6 a day now, which it's not too bad. It was a lot nicer before, but like previously I'd get like 1 a day. I'd be like, oh, what a nice message, and then I get 6 a day. Like, how do you start game development? Can you help me with this thing in game development? It's like, oh no, another one.
It's probably you just have to consider yourself like, because for example, that's how I do it. Like I do, in my head, I count to 60 to 70% game dev, and then 30 to 40% is community management, marketing, everything
Yeah.
that has to do with that. And every day I try to do, I say this, everything, at least 1% of everything. So like I'll try to do at least a bit of promotion at the end of the day, at least a bit of community management. So I communicate with people around and I see their work. I comment on everything that I can see. For that amount of time, I will invest that amount of time on Discord. I will invest that amount of time on this. Hopefully I'll get done. And that's kind of just the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that is a really good mindset. I mean, on the Metabulous server now, we are doing events every Tuesday, and
That's nice.
that's quite cool. Like yesterday we played some. There's this game called Use Your Words. It's a little bit like Jackbox, except it's just words.
Nice.
But yeah, like that's fun to play with like a bunch of your fans and stuff, and it gets more personal level with them, and yeah, it's funny. It's funny, and I'd say
That's nice.
like just making sure that you talk to them rather than just sort of disregarding them as though like they're just giving you a number, like they're just adding one
God,
to a
that's
number.
horrible way to say it. Yeah,
But
no.
and I mean, I'm sure there's
No
probably
individuals here.
I'm sure there's somebody that probably thinks it like that. I mean, I don't. I'm just saying, like, there's probably some people that look at it as though, oh, it's just a person adding to my. Oh my god, it sounds really bad when I say it out loud
Yeah,
again.
now I'm thinking of it, I was like, woof. But for sure, some people might think like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as your channel, as your community grows, you'll reach to a point where it's impossible to reply to everyone.
Yeah.
I've
I mean,
never experienced that, so I wouldn't know. But
yeah. I mean, there are
That's what I
some
heard from
people that like. There are some frequent people that message me a lot, and I mean, I like it, but it's quite overwhelming when I get about 12 messages in the space of 10 minutes, and then like I don't reply for a while, and then they message again, and then and it's like, oh no, there's so many. And
I sometimes get private messages as well, and that's
what I'm referring to.
that's that's what you're referring to. Yeah, private message. I get that, and I try to reply, but most of the time I can't. It's really hard to reply to.
Yeah, it's tough to reply to personal ones because you gotta keep up the conversation for a fair amount of time. Like you can't just like keep it to 2 minutes and then move on because that would be quite mean. But like you can't ignore them.
I usually
it's really
if the
weird.
questions that they give you are pretty generic, I would usually say, hey, I have this Discord. You're probably already in. If you want, we can chat over there because there's many other people who have the similar questions, and usually they would understand and move towards on Discord and talk in public.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird sort of getting a message from someone is nice though. It sort of shows they actually like look up to me. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a role model for someone.
No, I wouldn't say that about myself. I don't know. I don't think I've reached there yet, but
I mean, I had someone last year message me on Twitter like this long paragraph saying, basically just saying like that I inspire them to do game dev and stuff. And
damn, that's kind of a big ego boost right there for you.
oh man, it
That
was
must
like
be great.
this was ages ago as well. This was like I wasn't really that big at all. I think I was at 100 and something, so it was quite early on.
Got some nice messages from people as well, and it feels really nice.
Yeah.
Especially recently, because I don't know if you can tell, I'm also breathing from my mouth because I have hay fever. I suffer from hay fever, and my last devlog, you could hear very strong how I was breathing from my mouth as I was speaking. And I got a lot of people saying get well soon and that, and it feels nice that after that I was like, I think I've managed to build a very nice community with really lovely people who support me and just support the ideas of game development in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. It felt very good.
Someone thought I was about to die on stream the other day because I had like a couple of spots.
What the hell?
Like,
Oh, okay.
and they're like there was like three people saying, "You look pretty dead." I was like, "I look dead?" I mean, okay, yeah, it's really weird. I mean, like I dyed my hair red for 1,000 subscribers, which
Nice. That's great commitment. I
Which
might do
what?
something like that as well.
honestly, I'm actually sticking to this hair now. Like originally, I was like, I just like I couldn't get a semi-permanent one. I had to get a permanent one, so it's like, oh, this better be good.
Are you
and
happy
luckily-
with it now?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I don't think I could go back to brown hair. Like, I look back at like an old video of brown hair, I'm like, ugh,
What is that?
imagine having brown hair again. What? Yeah, it's
I used to have blue hair at one point.
damn. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. But yeah, it's
well, I'll tell you, it definitely was not for an achievement. For me, it was from a breakup, but we're not gonna talk about that.
I think that
was
was.
the crazy stuff.
I mean, to be fair, it might have been part of the reason why I dyed my hair as well. It's yeah,
Really? Oh no.
yeah, it's weird because it's like
Why do people do that? Chat,
I
have
don't
you
know.
guys done that? Have you guys ever done something stupid because of a relationship that fell out? I wonder. It's like everybody's like, no.
isn't it a whole lot more work with dyed hair though? That's a big commitment. Not really. To be fair, I literally just do the same as I've always done previously. I get out of bed, you know.
Oh, and Perinator. No, I dye my hair because I love myself. That's great. I love that.
That yeah, that's pretty good as well. And also, yeah, I mean, I love red, so it kind of just worked. But
Red is it's my favorite.
I think
color.
it's sort of like you change your appearance to sort of like cut off that section like of your life again. It's just like get away, you know.
Yeah. New body, new me. Who's this?
Yeah, it's weird because I got a haircut and got my hair dyed. So yeah, it must just be yeah. Well, as in you gotta keep it dyeing it so it doesn't fade. I mean, this hasn't faded at all. I mean, you can't really see it in the light. Actually,
I can see
you
it
can't.
from
Like
screen.
here you
Looks-
can a lot more. Like that's what it usually looks like, but just a bit brighter in this like in the light. But yeah, like it's
I need to get a haircut. Looking at the chat, I'm so sorry guys about my hair. Like it's getting bigger and bigger. It's turning into a broccoli. It's
Yeah,
it's
I get
like
it.
because of the quarantine, I can't cut my hair. I don't have the tools here at home to cut my own hair.
yeah. This
I don't know what
quarantine's
I'm gonna do.
a mess. It's annoying. But
I'll
I
probably
mean,
just I'll put my hair into a bun and I'll look like a pineapple for the next devlog probably.
yeah. I mean, also mashup. It like dyeing your hair doesn't take a huge amount of time. It's not hugely expensive. I guess it depends on how you dye your hair. Like if you were to bleach it and stuff, but.
Or if you want to do it professionally, that's another thing as well. That costs a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, my mum did this, and she did a pretty good job. So,
Oh, nice.
you know, get her to do it again. So yeah, I mean, I think this is supposed to last 60 washes, which is quite a lot.
That's pretty good. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's gonna stay. It's gonna stay permanent for quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it for several videos. Maybe turn a different color next time. The next one.
Green.
It's like like Pokemon Eevee. You get to become now fire type, and then you'll do
Yeah.
different types as you go.
Yeah. Yeah, like
I want to go back to school. Quarantine is awful. Yeah, I agree with you.
yeah, it's really annoying. I've had to have online classes, but we don't actually talk with the teachers at all. It's pretty weird. It's kind of
because I finished school, but
it's really different because like you set work like we've got a Discord server for it, and it's really weird because it's like they can see like my YouTube's attached to my Discord, and like literally like in college one day.
Now know you're a YouTuber now.
Oh yeah, all my tutors know that I like do game dev a lot and stuff, and it's like,
That's
oh,
good.
I mean it's good, and then they find out about my YouTube channel. It's like, oh god, not this. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like this quarantine sort of messed up everyone's schedules. I mean, like,
Oh, don't even mention that. I was usually a morning person where I would wake up super early and start my day, work, and then finish my work at 5. So I would treat my indie game dev like a 9 to 5 job.
yeah, that's what
Now
I
it's
wish I could treat it like. But like this quarantine has just sort of cut that away. I was like, oh, okay, well that's out the window.
Because it's really hard to maintain that.
Yeah, I tried to work on Millions and Minions, at least, like even if it's just one task a day. Although now, like as we're getting closer to release, there's not as much that needs to be done. Like literally in our
We're just
backlog,
polishing, right?
like let's say like like the Trello boards, right?
Yeah, I use one as well.
Yeah. So we have a backlog section, and literally it's just one scroll now. Like that's all we have to do, and
That's great.
that is
Congrats.
oh my god. Honestly, seeing that, it's like oh, I like that one.
Hot spot.
Yeah, it's great.
JR Guide, the quarantine has given a lot of time for people to self-reflect and work on things they've always wanted to work on. That is
Yeah.
true as well. So, which is why also, I guess quarantine is a good time to start game dev if you've never considered doing game dev, because you have this window of time that you can actually fully delve yourself into game development.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, now's the time if you can.
Yeah, I mean, I started game dev at a really bad time because I started it just before my final exams. It's not a good idea.
Gosh, final exams. Best of luck.
Well, no, this was ages ago, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, oh, actually, never mind. No, but I had exams just beforehand, like just afterwards, though. So I should have been studying, but I was doing game dev instead.
When I started making Maddie, I was doing my dissertation in the same time.
Whew.
You can clearly tell how much I wanted to become, to work in the business IT place. I just started game dev. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Even my dissertation was topicked on, my dissertation topic was gamification.
Well, there you go.
So turning a work environment into a game environment.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I think our team's going with. Like, it's more of a game feel than a work feel now, which is quite nice.
Yeah. Mashup games. Wish I had the time to work on those things though. I have final exams of my university course, plus my final project due in 7 days. Best of luck. I wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Projects are tough, but they're not impossible. You can do it. Did somebody say it? Say what?
Say IT,
Anyways,
I think.
we kind of filled in all the questions. So if the chat has any questions to ask, we are more than happy to answer them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually have some really nice images. The artist from my team, Giacomo, gave some really nice arts.
Let's see if we can. Okay, guys, ignore how horrible this is gonna look on stream. I do deeply apologize.
So these are some nice images that we've pulled out for the game. The game doesn't look like this at the moment, but obviously, like, oop, one sec.
Yep.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
you're doing the whole thing.
We're getting ready.
Oh no, don't worry about it. Yeah, I thought you could just show it on my screen, but okay, fine.
Oh, that works.
Here.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. So like, this is how the game looks for those of you who don't know me and like, who is this Asian dude trying to show his game about tadpoles? But
Wow,
the game at
that's
the
so
moment,
cool.
this is kind of how it looks. There's these, you see these bugs that are corrupted by the toxics, and you as a tadpole, you have these clear water bubbles that you're trying to wash off them, and they're spitting garbage.
That's cool.
Yeah, and this is one of the boss. We don't know what to call it, so we have a really crappy name called Otter Boot because it has a boot as a hat. And it drops bombs, and you have to kind of dodge it. I know this image shows that you can't dodge it, but this is the concept behind it, where he spawns several bombs and you have to dodge the incoming ones. Yeah, and this is the evolution types and the bullet.
Right, yeah.
This was before. Now the frog doesn't do this type of attacks. The frog now does like a big beam of a big bubble that slowly moves and hits multiple enemies. Yeah, and that's how it looks.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we have. I think I can actually show some. I can show you here something very cute. I don't know if it works. So you can see that when I kill this is the first boss. It's Duck Cannon, so it shoots like a cannon.
Oh my. That's so cool looking.
and the bullets can't pass these, so therefore you have to hit it several times. That's a health point, for example, and I'll try to kill it once it moves more a bit up, so you can see the way it moves. There, now, come on, there. See, it gets hit, and then
Oh man.
it turns into a non-corrupted duck. Yeah, and that's kind of the gist behind it.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what my game is. Let's see if I'll turn my camera back on. So
Yeah. So has anyone got any questions for Andrew? We'll give it a little bit of time whilst we wait.
hell yeah, another Asian person. I don't know why I said that.
I guess we could reference some of the questions earlier, because there was one.
Yeah, there were some questions before. I guess Oh wait, I'll read the comments that are written out now.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Cuphead art. Yeah, I can see why, because we are using frame by frame, so we're using images like the old school way, but obviously the art style is not the same, so it definitely isn't that close to it. But I can definitely see why why some people would think that it's reminds of them of Cuphead art style. For better or for worse.
I think so. The only question that I can see is, what do you guys find the hardest thing about game dev?
I think just like, to me, just like going to the gym, eat healthy, it's the ability to be consistent and to always, not only always pump out work, but always pump out quality work.
Yeah.
On a be consistent about quality.
Yeah, I'd
work.
say that's quite
That's
true.
tough.
Yeah, I'd say the toughest thing about game development, even though it's not directly to do with game development, is actually balancing it with other things.
Life.
Yeah, with life and with YouTube, especially. That's, yeah, it's tough to balance game dev and YouTube. Even though, like, I'm a game dev channel, it's really weird because it's like, I don't know, it's a different way of, like, structuring it. You have to, like, showcase your game in a nice way, but you actually have to have content to show it.
You also have to be kind of an internet person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you stop yourself from getting bored?
Well, I recently got the Valorant key, just flexing here, and I've been playing Valorant with my friends.
Well, you know what? He's got it. He's set. Yeah, I'd say, how do I stop myself from getting bored? I don't really get.
I don't get bored.
Bored,
When it comes to
yeah.
game dev, I never get bored. I always
find it so
learn.
enjoyable.
But that's because we have the game dev drive in us that
Yeah.
we know for sure it's something we want to pursue for our future, and we are truly interested in game development and just game theory, anything that has to do with this topic.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that's why, because we're so into this, it's impossible to get bored from.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
like
I
saying,
personally couldn't see myself getting bored of game dev, at least for a long time.
for a very long time. There's no way.
Because now it's become
I still have so much to do.
yeah, it's become such a big part of my life now that, like, if I was to cut it out, I would just.
I would get bored if I didn't have game dev.
There you go. That's the one.
Yeah.
Actually, one thing like, if I ever feel demotivated, because that's something, like, if I ever get burnt out, then usually I know when to draw the line, and I know when I need to take a break.
Do
Because
you get burned out after a game jam?
no, not really.
Damn,
It takes a day for me to recover.
Yeah,
Recover.
same here, I think.
It sounds like I've, like, been shot in the leg or something. Yeah, it takes me about a day. Yeah, like, I had Ludum Dare the weekend, and I took a day break yesterday, and now I'm feeling back in the mood for it. So, you know, it's quite good. And actually, technically, even yesterday I didn't take a full break because I had a game dev meeting with the guys. So.
How did your Ludum Dare go? I wasn't able to participate this time, but
Oh,
for
man.
the next time I definitely want to participate.
Yeah.
I've seen so many amazing works from my Discord server. Like some people made some really cool stuff. One person made a exploring cave exploration game. Another
Damn.
person made a where you're a cheese and you have to run away from cheese graters. And I was like, staying alive. That's great.
Yeah. Ours was there's a heart on the planet, and there are asteroids coming at the heart. It was a 3D game, and it's a 3D first-person tower defense.
Cool.
And yeah,
wow. Tower defense games in game jams. I always found tower defense games so hard to make.
Yeah, there were
So
three.
complex.
There were three gun types, and there was a health, like a healing item for the heart, and then what's the other thing? A repair kit for the guns. So yeah, we did a lot. I think I almost did all the programming. I think it was something like 1,500 lines of code, I think, because I counted. Yeah, that was.
Damn.
It was pretty intense, but damn, I loved it so much.
I love game jams because it's such a good. Yeah, that's another thing. People who just recently started, don't say you're an aspiring game dev or you're like, oh, I'm an aspiring something. You are a game dev if you just made a silly little game. You should be encouraged to you should participate game jams and make as many games as possible, even failed, even like crappy games. The point is to be able to finish. Like game jams are great because it's a simulation of you experimenting what it's like to publish a game in a very short time, right?
Oh,
and
man.
it gives you a lot of insight on what it's like to publish a game, right?
Yeah,
And
game
that's-
jams are so. You take so much away from game jams, and you don't even think it. But like actually, like looking back, I made sure that this time I worked a bit more with like coroutines and stuff, because previously I'd sort of,
Oh no, I hate coroutines. I need to start working with coroutines as well.
I was the same, but then I researched how to use them, and to be quite honest, they're so powerful and they're so easy to
Give
do.
me some sources.
I'll send some over, because genuinely,
Thank
they
you.
do so much for you. Like you can set like a spawn countdown just by using one of those,
Coroutine.
and that's all you need to do. It's so good.
Please give me any sources about coroutine. I would appreciate it.
I'm not sure if you've heard of. There's this guy called Dapper Dino. Might have heard of him.
No. Oh, Dev the Dino. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I'll send over his channel later, but oh my, his tutorials are really good, because he's doing a C# bite size thing where he's talking about loads of different like things in game dev, and he went over coroutines, inheritance, classes, stuff like that, everything. The only one I watched is coroutines, but that one was really good. I've watched his like networking tutorials as well, so he's very.
Networking tutorials. You want to make a multiplayer game?
I
Made some multiplayer games, right?
I've made a multiplayer like prototype thing, an online multiplayer thing.
That's really cool.
That was the other month. Oh man, that was cool to make.
I would really love to make a multiplayer.
It hurts your
I
brain
think
though, so be prepared.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like man, like I spent 3 years, just working on this one bit of code. That's what it felt like. It felt like 3 years, I mean, it's just, again, it's like searching the right places. I joined the Discord for it, asked them, and they were like, oh yeah, just change this value, and I was like, oh. It's good. It's a good learning experience though. Someone asked, how do you manage projects from corruption? Is there a way to implement a system to prevent it? Personally,
it's called copy the FLA file and then put it on the other side, note it as backup, and then use it in case bad things happen.
that works. My team uses GitHub to.
GitHub is a great place. Yeah.
Source control is really good, because you can also revert back. So like if you made a mistake and you like corrupted the whole project, or like let's say you deleted like a script that you didn't want to delete, you could like go into the GitHub and discard that change, and then it would revert it back. There are so many things you can do with source control, and like you can always you can make little different versions, branching versions of the game. Like we're probably gonna like finally utilize that to make one branch called demo. So like we can have like a just for the demo we'll have that. So then we can just build the demo whenever we want. But yeah, making sure that you're always backed up is really good, because otherwise you lose loads of projects. Like I had a time. Oh yeah, and there's Unity Cloud. Yeah, I don't know. I think Unity Cloud's a bit clunky, and it's not exactly.
I've used Unity Cloud for a game jam. It worked.
Yeah,
fine-ish, but sometimes it would just break and everybody would just panic and be like, "What's
Yeah.
going on? I can't back up."
Yeah, game jams. I guess that's the only time.
Unity still
but-
has to work. Unity has to work a bit more on Unity Cloud collab.
Yeah, like the other. I think it's
See you, Mashup Games. Thanks for joining our stream.
Oh yeah, see you later, Mashup. Thanks so much. Yeah, like last year in April, a year ago now, I lost a project of mine. Well, actually, I lost loads of projects of
That
mine.
sounds painful. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Man, no, genuinely, it felt like I lost a child. Like, it was one of my first big projects, and that's also why I've been reluctant to work on my dream projects, because, like, there was that, and then only August last year, I also lost a project. So, man, make sure you back up well. Like, don't just use
Guys,
one.
back up your games.
Yeah, don't just rely on one source of backups as well. Like, make sure you use GitHub or whatever source control and like a memory stick or something. Literally, just do something. Just keep at least one build a day.
I
Going.
have a memory stick right here with me. So, for example,
Yeah, I have a hard drive right there. I'd say honestly, actually one thing I've got into the practice of doing now is once a week at the end of the week, I'll back up the project onto like a USB or something, just so it's there in another format, and then it's also on GitHub. But yeah, that works pretty well for me. All right, I think that's all we really need to go over, unless there's anything you can think of.
Unless there's any other questions that there is out there. Yeah, actually, for those who are still staying around, I probably sometime soon in the future, I will. I've asked Matt if I could host him as well, the same interview where I would interview him, with certain questions on my channel, and if anybody would be interested, it would be great if you would come in.
Yeah, and that's also worth noting. Everyone, go down into the description, go to Andrew's link, click the subscribe button and the bell. That helps too. And yeah, just give him some support, because yeah, his content's really good, and he does a fair amount of live streams. So always dropping by on those is really fun. There you go.
It's
All
really
right.
nice to have you around all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for taking part, and yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Hopefully, we'll have you on in the future as well, and we'll see.
Yeah, that would be great. And
Yeah.
maybe sometime in the future, I could also get my animator. If we ever have time for a game jam, we could all work together on a game jam.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. All right, sweet.
That would be pretty cool.